Hey, what's going on YouTube? So this is Nate, and today I'll be doing a video on the Zaopin Z2 versus the Lamzu Thorn. And the reason why I'm making this video tonight on Wednesday, I've actually gotten a lot of notifications on Amazon over these two mice. So I'm sure if you're looking on Amazon for a gaming mouse, the Zaopin Z2 is probably popped up in your shopping cart or for a preferred option. Same as the Lamzu Thorn. It's a very popular mouse on Amazon, gets a lot of good reviews. So both these mice are fantastic options. They're both Ergo shapes. So I'm just kind of wanting to go over some stuff and kind of educate you guys and let you know which mouse I would prefer for the money. So as far as that goes, I'll just go over some stuff real fast, make this video super quick. For the Zaopin Z2, in terms of what you get in the box, you do get a little bag with some grip tape. You do get extra skates that have holes in them. This mouse is hot swappable, so this bottom part can be lifted off. If you have the other skate where the holes are, you can actually swap out the switches. So there's a really cool design there. You do get a really nice dust cover bag. Super cool. And your charging cable for your receiver. Kind of a generic receiver there, nothing too crazy. With the Lamzu Thorn, the experience on this mouse is a little different. You get a little higher quality bag. You get some Lamzu stickers. You get a dust cover on this mouse, which is super cool. And you get some extra skates, and I believe set glass skates. And I believe that's it with this mouse. Oh, you do get an extra set of feet too. So that's one thing extra. As far as like pricing goes with these two mice, the Zaopin Z2 is going to come in at $64 on Amazon. So it's a very approachable price. And currently there is a discount right now for 15% off on this mouse. So that makes this mouse a fantastic deal. Whereas the Lamzu Thorn is going to be on the more premium side, and this one is coming in at $99 on Amazon. So, starting off weight-wise, actually scratch that. I'll go over the receivers real fast. So the Zaopin Z2 is going to have a translucent receiver, kind of a puck shape. I'm kind of a sucker for this receiver. Super cool, super kind of techy. The Lamzu Thorn is just kind of a generic rectangle. Nothing too special about this one. It is a nice quality receiver though. They're both pretty nice. But starting off though with the main thing with these two mice, the weight on the Zaopin's coming in at 65 grams, whereas the weight on the Lamzu Thorn is coming in at 52 grams. That is a noticeable difference I can feel straight off the bat with these two mice. The Zaopin Z2 is going to feel heavier in the rear, whereas the Lamzu Thorn is just going to feel lighter and it's going to glide better on the mouse mat. That's something I can immediately tell between these two mice just by barely moving them around. The Zaopin is built like an absolute tank. Not saying the Lamzu is not, but it's built pretty good. It's actually built really good actually. But the Zaopin just feels like I could chuck this thing off a building and it would still survive. It's honestly pretty amazing at how sturdy this is. It's almost like a super light in terms of build quality. I'll bring these mouses side by side real fast so you can get a comparison. The Lamzu Thorn is going to have a more sloped shape to the right, so instead of my hand being like this, it's going to cave into the right more. My thumb will go towards the middle on this, so I get a little more room for my thumb in here, which is really nice. You can see how it really concaves there, whereas the Zaopin's a little more flat. For the Zaopin, my hand, I can palm this super easily. Same thing with the Thorn. Just with the Zaopin, my hand's not to the right as much as it is with the Thorn. So that is one thing I want to point out with these two mice. They both feel awesome to hold. The Zaopin will be longer in the rear and not as tall for this main hump, where the Thorn will be taller for the main hump and a little shorter in the rear. So that just comes down to your hand preference in terms of how they feel in the hands. So the Zaopin will be shorter again, a little, not as long too in the rear, and it's not as, it's more symmetrical compared to the Thorn. It's a little more of an Ergo shape. They are both Ergo mice, but the Thorn is a little on the heavier side for that in terms of design-wise. I will go over, this is the shape for these two mice. So there's a video on that. And there's also that's actually pretty cool because I'm going to review that mouse pretty soon, so that's neat. As far as these sensors go with these two mice, both these mice have 3395 sensors, so they're both excellent 4K compatible sensors out of the box. Excellent tracking on these mice. One is definitely not worse than the other. They both work fantastic. I have zero complaints for both the sensors. What's next on my list? So as far as the Zaopin goes for the encoder, this one does have a TTC gold encoder for the scroll wheel. You get a really nice feeling. The scroll wheel is a little heavier on the clicks. I don't like scroll wheels that require this much force to press down. They're a little harder to press. Whereas the Lamzu Thorn has the TTC encoder. This is a silver, also known as the white variant. This is a much more clickier feeling, a lot lighter. I can span this easier. So that is one thing I noticed between these two mice. For me, honestly, my main thing is going to be the shape and the overall design of the scroll wheel. I just like the scroll wheel better on the Zaopin. It's a more traditional look and feel, whereas the Lamzu Thorn is going to have a more kind of a Lego car shape. For the scroll wheel, that's not my thing, so that's kind of my take on that. As far as switches go in these two mice, the Thorn is going to have the, I think these are called the Retina optical switches. These are I think it's a 90M, kind of an orange switch. They are louder, kind of clacky feeling. They're definitely not a bad switch. But in terms of what other people think about these switches, I have heard people not liking the Thorn just because of these switches. So that is one thing I'll note. And the Zaopin Z2 is going to have the TTC 60M switches. These are going to be hot swappable too, so you can get a screwdriver and swap out the switches on this mouse, which is super awesome. They do have like a 5-pack. I think you can get a whole bunch of different switches. I prefer the clicks on the Zaopin Z2. They're super tactile, super sharp. Really good sounding clicks, especially on the side buttons. These are probably some of the best side buttons I've felt besides like a Razer mice. I definitely prefer it over the Thorn, especially for the main clicks. I don't know if I went over the bags on these two mice that they come with. These are actually both carrying cloths for these. I prefer the Thorn though, just because it's silky smooth like a blanket. So that is one thing on that. It's kind of a dumb thing to mention, but it is something that I notice. And also the main thing with the coating on this mouse, this is a fingerprint magnet. There's nothing you can do with the black one. It's just going to be a fingerprint magnet. So I had this mouse clean before this review, and as you can tell, it's got a lot of fingerprints. This will require a lot of cleaning for the black colorway, whereas the orange on this Thorn is not bad. But I'm assuming if you get the black colorway, it's going to be a lot of fingerprint magnet. So as far as batteries go on these mice, this is where the Zaopin Z2, this is where the weight comes from. The Zaopin has a 500 milliamp hour battery. With this mouse being hot swappable, you can open up this mouse pretty easily. I would recommend swapping in a lighter battery on this mouse, just because you can really feel the extra weight with this mouse. Where the Lamzu Thorn has a 300 milliamp hour battery. That just fits this mouse better. You can tell it's a lighter mouse. It's definitely not a deal breaker for the Zaopin, but that is something I notice with these mice. So having a smaller battery in the Thorn does equate to a lighter mouse overall. And I have not noticed honestly a bit of difference between the battery life on these two. I believe with the battery on these mice, it comes down to like optimization. and everything and how they're like tuned. So I believe the Thorn's gonna have a little bit better battery life in terms of like power management. So that is something I'll note. But overall, between these two mice, my kind of takeaway of this video, I prefer the Zaopin just because it is a cheaper option. I like the switches better. I like the scroll wheel better. I like the way the side buttons click. I absolutely love the hot swappable switches in this mouse. The weight is a little bit of a downside, but I believe with swapping out the rear battery, you can make this mouse lighter. But in terms of the overall like 65 grams, this is not a like brick per se. It is more of a heavier feeling mouse, but it's not anything terrible. If anything, it reminds me of kind of like an Ergo Superlight. So it does feel really awesome. This thing is built so freaking well. That is one thing I really like about the mouse is the build quality and everything you get for the money. You get so much value with this mouse, and I can see why it is such a popular option on Amazon. Whereas the Thorn is a great mouse. If you want more of a Ergo mouse that leans more towards like having a super kind of ergonomic feel, this would be the mouse I would go for. In terms of like holding this mouse, I will say it is more comfortable just because you have this thumb slot here. I can kind of palm this mouse and relax my thumb. But overall, I'm not huge on these switches with this mouse, and I don't like side buttons too much, and the scroll wheel is kind of a Lego kind of feeling rubbery scroll wheel. And with this mouse coming in at a more expensive price, I do believe the value proposition on the Zaopin Z2 is better. And if it were my money, I would go with the Zaopin Z2 over the Lamzu Thorn. So I'm hoping that does answer some questions. If you guys do have any other questions I might have not fully answered in this video, feel free to post in the comments.